Hey, what's up guys? This is your boy Tiny Grouper back at it again with a brand new Marvel Rivals video. Being missing for a few weeks, had some stuff I had to handle, but we're back and we're going to get the show on the road. So what we're starting off with today is talking about Ultron, right? Some people saying he's broken, some people saying he's garbage. It's a divide in the community right now. And what we are going to do is just watch some gameplay and just talk about his abilities and how this will work out in the overall meta and try to come to somewhat of a clear decision going into Season 2.5. But without any further ado, let's get straight on into it. So right here we have the Ultron gameplay clip from Marvel Rivals herself, showcasing some of the abilities. So we see his Ray here, which does pretty decent damage, and it has a burst. You can see it has 6 charges, and that is his dynamic flight ability, where he could just, get a short burst of speed to move out of the way. And this is the firewall ability, where he gives his allies 85 health. And you could see also the range on that Encephalo Ray is pretty long. And I believe, this is some more with the firewall and the Encephalo Ray that he has. Pretty solid kit overall. And I believe they're going to show the ultimate right now. 8-second ultimate, crazy heals, right? And it also does damage too. So yeah, that's Ultron from the gameplay trailer. So now the discourse, right? The discourse with Ultron is, we have 2 camps of people. We have the people that say he is broken, because like, oh my gosh, his beam is like unlimited range, and his ultimate, it attacks. And then we have a next camp of people that says he's dog water because, he only has essentially 1 healing ability. As far as my stance on it, you know what? I'm going to go through everything and then I'll give my stance at the end. So let's start off with his main healing ability, the drone. As you can see, it's being used here right now. It does healing over time, and it does healing for everyone in the circle. So that is probably your primary way to heal yourself as Ultron. Only thing about that though is it looks kind of slow. So if you're taking any kind of focus fire, maybe even from one singular person, it probably kills you through the drone. I don't know if the drone can be shot yet, but yeah. And then as you can see, he's using his ultimate here. I guess I'll talk about that, right? With the ultimate, it's only 8 seconds. And most healing ults are, I believe, 10 to 12 seconds. So with Ultron having a shorter one, I guess his one is so much shorter because he does damage with it. I don't think it's that good, because I mean, you instantly heal up your whole team. That's probably why the healing on it is so good, but it's really slow when it comes to killing people. I believe it only does a little over 600 damage. I was watching a video the other day. Some of the tanks could literally just stand up and take it and not die. I mean, if you're going for ultimate that heals and does damage, you'd probably want more damage there. So I would say probably buff the ultimate, either add another 2 to 4 seconds on it, or make the damage that it does a little bit stronger. But yeah, so buff his healing with the drone, or buff his damage with the ultimate. The next thing is his imperative firewall ability. He gives 85 health, I believe they said it was, to everyone inside of this firewall. And that is also weak, I must say. That is also weak. So I have a little presentation here just to further explain on what I would like to rework on his drone, his firewall, and even his ultimate. We don't want to overtune him, because Ultron does have a great kit to, if it is too strong, he will become a problem. So let's just take a look at everything. So starting off with Imperative Firewall, what we want to do is encourage Ultron for being the DPS type support he is. So after he defeats enemies, the radius of the drone increases and its healing output increases. I didn't want to do it something too simple like do damage or just get headshot damage, because he does have a ray beam, and that would ultimately probably overtone the drone. So as you confirm the kills, you get it, and after a while the radius returns to normal so it doesn't snowball. For his imperative patch firewall, what I wanted to do here is allow the little rectangular radius that he shoots forward be able to project out further and give a small little quick shield that could block incoming damage, and as opposed to just making it have more overshield, because he is more of a utility build and I don't just want to make him a strong heal bot. So time it correctly and you could block some ultimates even also. And lastly, for his ultimate, Rage of Ultron, what I want to do, I just simply want to increase it by 2 to 4 seconds, as opposed to having an 8-second ultimate, just give him 10 to 12, so he could be able to fully go on the damage side if he chooses to do that, or he can also just go full on heal bot, save the team if he wants to do it. Instead of tweaking the damage numbers, we just let it last a little bit longer, which kind of is like making it do more damage. But as I continue to talk over this, buff the heals from his drone, buff the damage with his ult, and his Imperative Firewall only gives 85 bonus health, which in most characters that's 1 to 2 attacks you just give your team. At least, I don't know, 100, 120, something over time. That kind of feels negligible in my opinion. And also, if you remember the old leaks, you would see he had a passive called algorithmic. Oh boy, that's a word. Algorithmic correction, where he had a passive would allow him to fall slowly. I mean, it's essentially nothing. But looking at his kit, you're like, how does he fall slowly if he's a full-time flyer? And I believe that's because he wasn't originally meant to be a full-time flyer. So now that he is a full-time flyer, Ultron is without a passive, which isn't a big deal. Several characters in the game doesn't have a passive. Doctor Strange, Cloak and Dagger, Captain America, to name a few. But when you have a kit that's kind of feeling this bare bones, not having a passive just feels that much worse, right? The dynamic flight also gives him 50 health, I believe, and he could, just fly away. It's really good because Iron Man has some kind of movement ability, Torch has a movement ability, and Storm kind of does, but she really, her one is the worst, and you feel it the most as a flyer when you're playing Storm because of that. So it's great that he has that. Now, people have been comparing him to Adam Warlock, right? Saying that, oh, you don't need to be a full-time lifeline healer. That's what's wrong with the game. Which is true. That is true that he is unique and he has a take. But the fact is, we know how it is. Once you pick any character that has that strategist icon, everyone just assumes that, oh, that's one of our 2 strategists minimum that we need to play. Same thing if you guys ever played DPS Jeff. You pick Jeff to do DPS damage, but you're only going to get one other healer because they're like, oh, we already have the 2 strategists. So unless you have a coordinated comp, in the 3 strat comp, that's probably where Ultron shines. But he's going to play, like, he's going to be in just 2 strategist compositions a lot. And that's why I feel like he will begin to struggle and people will, kind of bash him. Which is somewhat true, because if you need the whole team to kind of work around just one character to make him viable or even just good, it is kind of a problem there, to be honest. Because he is a weaker character. In a game with so much strong characters, Ultron is a weaker character. If he was here launch day, I don't think he would be seeing any kind of play like that. Maybe, I don't know. And the worst thing is, they knew that his healing kit was kind of limited, so they gave him the team up with Iron Man, where he is primary. As you can see, he's using it right here. His primary is it heals. But the thing is, when you have such a strong team up ability, or such a team up ability that a character relies on, you want it to be with a meta character or a really strong character. And why is that? That's simply because you need it and you want to see it as much as possible. Iron Man, you will probably see this team up quite a bit in the first few days. People are going to be like, oh, we're going to team up with Ultron. But once the hype cools down, I think you're not going to see it as much, because you really don't see Iron Man as much. At least in the higher ranks of play. Low ranks of play, I think Iron Man still gets played, but he's not the best guy you want to rely such a bread and butter ability on. So, final thoughts on Ultron. I think he is a character where, honestly, I think he's only going to see play because he's new. Not to say that he is bad, but he's weak. I would put him on the lower end of strategists. I'd say Cloak and Dagg's better. Luna Snow is better. Cloak and Dagg, Luna Snow, Invisible Woman, Loki, Rocket Raccoon. I think the only strategist I'd put him over right now is Jeff. And Jeff recently got nerfed into the ground. So if Ultron is only definitively better than Jeff, that's kind of a L. He may be better than... Nah, I don't know. Yeah, Ultron probably is one of the worst healers in the game. So that's kind of an L. Because the thing about it is, you guys may be saying, oh, well, some characters have to be the worst characters, right? With a game that gets balanced and reworked as much as this, like every few weeks, we get some kind of shift in the meta. I feel like every character coming out in this game should at least be somewhat strong. And I say that because when we look at the first two characters we got, Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman, both were meta day one. Mr. Fantastic had a time when he fell off, but then he rose back to power again. And then the second patch was the Thing and Human Torch. And whilst the Human Torch wasn't too strong or too good, the Thing was. And then after that we had Emma Frost, another meta character. So this is going to be the first time that Marvel Rivals is releasing a character that isn't meta. And it's kind of weird because Johnny Storm was the only other character that wasn't meta on release, but he came out with the Thing, so at least one of them was meta. So I guess they have a thing with flyers. They don't want to make flyers too strong. And considering that Punisher and Hela and all these other range and Hawkeye all got buffs. Yeah, you know what? Actually, I'd vouch to say that Ultron probably is cooked. But without that out of the way, see you guys next time. And that's just my thoughts. Who knows? Hopefully I'm wrong, because I'm actually interested in playing this character. But from the way it looks, after a few plays, I'm probably going to put him down and finish playing with some other characters.